styles make fights. And now they've matched him with Wardley, I'm going to go against Dubois because styles make fights. I see, Wardley's he's a little bit of a throwback fighter, Wardley, in as much as he's rough and he's ready. He takes a good shot, he soaks up punishment, and then when he lets them bullets start flying...
with Fabio is he has more strings to the bow than Daniel does. So he has more ways he can win. And the biggest factor for me is he's shown he can get off the floor, ride the really...
I think early on is if that fight gets really hard early on, Daniel Dubois will be okay. And this is the thing. I'm not saying he hasn't got heart. I'm not saying he's a quitter. It wasn't in that exact words. I've watched what I've watched and I didn't like what I saw. That's just...
I've seen Dubois a couple of times where when he has been beat, as he left it all in the ring, and maybe that's just a bit harsh, but maybe not. And if you're the opponent of that guy, then that's what you're going to be leaning into. That's what you're going to be digging into. You might be trying to find chinks in the armor before the fight night, or maybe even just on the night. That's what's keeping you in there.
That's right. So with the fights that we've seen, you would say Fabio has, he's got heart that can take him through a lot of the tough times in the fight, But power-wise, Dubois, speed, I don't know, they both got good speed. It's an interesting matchup.
Don't blink, baby. That's it. Don't blink. Let's go, Chop. Real scary. Let's go, Chop.
As fight night approaches, the heavyweight clash between Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley is generating intense debate across the boxing world, with experts and former fighters offering sharply divided predictions. What stands out most is the growing confidence behind Wardley, as many analysts point to his momentum, finishing ability, and composure in high-pressure moments as key advantages heading into this showdown.
So, look at their records. They're knockout specialists, the pair of them. They knock people out. They don't very often go the distance. So, I know that obviously Wardley was getting outboxed by Hooney. What did he do? He closed the show. In the end, he closed the show. Same with Joseph Parker fight. He was hit, he was hurt. What did he do? He closed the show. They really have to put some respect on his name, Fabio Wardley. He's not the kind of guy you call out as... I know this isn't a warm-up fight, and this is for the World WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World, which rightfully so. But you shouldn't call him out. Give him a wide berth. Wait till he gets beat. See how he gets beat. See if there's any chinks in his armor, because right now it doesn't appear to be.
A recurring theme among boxing insiders is the concern surrounding Dubois' ability to handle adversity. While undeniably powerful and dangerous, his past performances have raised questions about how he reacts when fights become physically and mentally demanding. In contrast, Wardley has built a reputation for thriving in chaos, often finding a way to close the show even when bouts become difficult or unpredictable. That contrast...
I think Fabio Wardley, I think I'll make him the favourite. Like, if that's as close as I can go to picking a winner, I'm going to make him the favourite.
Yeah.
Just because of momentum right now. Dubois, he climbed his mountain against Joshua. He then fell off the mountain against Usyk.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's
in mental resilience has become a central talking point in the build-up. Former world champion George Groves is among those leaning toward Wardley, not necessarily because of a clear superiority in skill, but due to his current form and confidence. Groves highlights Dubois' inconsistency as a major factor, pointing out how he reached an impressive peak in his victory over Anthony Joshua, only to suffer a significant setback in his loss to Alexander Usyk. According to Groves,
Dubois kind of sometimes pulls it out when he's least expected, and I do feel he is a better boxer. He's a very hard puncher, and Fabio's got to get hold of him early and kind of really take him out of his comfort zone early on. But he wasn't intimidated by Anthony Joshua, Dubois. He's a strange one, Fabio, isn't he? Because he's it's like guerrilla warfare when you're watching box. It's not, sometimes it's not pleasant to watch in the sense of boxing, but as a fight and a brawl or whatever, and pure determination and being an animal.
Key question is whether Dubois has fully recovered from that defeat, both mentally and physically, or whether those vulnerabilities will resurface under pressure against a relentless opponent like Wardley. Trainer Dominic Ingle offers a more balanced but still cautious perspective. He acknowledges Dubois' explosive power and ability to change a fight in an instant, warning that he remains a serious threat at all times. However, Ingle stresses,
Not gonna lie, guys, you can take that confidence away from him within the first 3 minutes of the fight. And if you come out, start strong, put him a strong jab on him, you can get a reaction out of him, and you can diminish his hopes.
the importance of Wardley asserting himself early, disrupting Dubois' rhythm before he can settle into the fight. He also describes Dubois as a rough, physical fighter who can drag opponents into chaotic exchanges where discipline breaks down and sheer determination becomes decisive. In that kind of fight, anything can happen, but it also plays into Wardley's strengths if he maintains composure. Meanwhile, former cruiser...
I think Fabio will know himself. He only has to look at his face after most of the fights. You know, he's marked up a lot. I think his defence has had to get better or needed to get better. But I do think off the Hooney fight and the Parker fight, I'm seeing the development of Fabio Wardley as a boxer. I think he's improving in most departments, to be honest. So I think he has bridged that gap, whereas Daniel, I've always thought, has got very solid base.
Weight world champion Tony Bellew emphasizes the tactical differences between the two. He believes Wardley has a broader range of options inside the ring and has already shown he can recover from adversity. However, Bellew is quick to point out that Wardley is far from invincible. A fast and aggressive start from Dubois, he argues, could shift the entire dynamic of the fight. If Dubois lands early and forces Wardley onto the...
But that as a result might alter the way he thinks as well when things get out. You know what? I'm not saying he's a quitter. It's never been that. It's just what I've seen in fights when it gets really hard and he's got to walk back to his corner when he probably could have got up on that 8 and go again. But listen, he is...
Back foot. Confidence could swing dramatically, making the opening rounds absolutely crucial. Heavyweight contender Fraser Clark focuses on Wardley's steady development, particularly in his defensive improvements and overall ring IQ. Clark believes Wardley is evolving into a more complete fighter with each outing, closing the gap in areas that were once considered weaknesses. In contrast, he suggests Dubois still relies heavily.
I just feel Dubois gone over against lesser punches than what Wardley is. And it's more of a mental, once it starts going, I feel as though he feels it and then he falls apart and he gets caught with a shot and he just switches off mentally. I don't know what it is. And I think if Wardley gets off to a good start, then this fight could end up pretty...
heavily on fundamentals and physical strength, which may not be enough at this level. Clark also points to the emotional pressure of big fights as a potential issue for Dubois, noting that such factors could heavily influence the outcome. Paul Smith raises perhaps the most sensitive topic: Dubois' mentality in difficult moments. While careful not to label him unfairly, Smith points to patterns in previous fights where Dubois appeared to hesitate when under sustained pressure.
It's a great matchup. Both have power. Fabio has this resilience. I think Dubois has a bit more resilience than people are giving him credit for. I saw that against Jarrell Miller. I saw it in spots against Hrgovic. Both are confident. The issue, I guess, for Dubois is that he is coming off a loss. I think we sometimes forget that, but I like the fact he said, you know what, fuck it, let's jump straight in with a big one. There is no, okay, you know what, let's have a 10-round warm-up fight against someone ranked number 30 to get my confidence back. No. Let's go straight in there. Who's got a belt? Who can I fight? And I love that attitude.
In a high-stakes bout like this, even a brief lapse in focus or determination could prove costly, especially against an opponent known for capitalizing on openings. Trainer Dave Coldwell echoes similar concerns, suggesting the fight may ultimately come down to mental strength rather than physical ability. He notes that Dubois has previously struggled with certain types of punches and sustained attacks.
Daniel Dubois, he just can't really get right. You know, he has no real skill. Pretty durable chin. Art is kind of questionable. But
Wardley starts aggressively and applies consistent pressure. Coldwell believes it could force Dubois into a defensive shell or even trigger a breakdown. In his view, Wardley's front foot style could lead to an early finish if Dubois fails to weather the initial storm. Broadcaster Ade Oladipo takes a slightly different stance, labeling the fight a genuine 50-50 contest. He acknowledges the risks facing Dubois, particularly as he enters the bout following a naturally increases the pressure. However, Oladipo also praises Dubois for taking on a major challenge immediately rather than opting for a safer comeback fight. That willingness to take risks, he argues, adds an extra layer of intrigue and unpredictability to the contest. Finally, rising heavyweight Johnny Fisher offers a more critical assessment of Dubois' technical foundation.
If you're an opponent lining up for Fabio Wardley, you look at him and go, to make him quit, one, I don't know if it's possible, and two, if it is, it's going to be one hell of a challenge. With Daniel, you'll go into a fight with Daniel thinking, if I do some things right here, I've seen it not once, not twice, but 3, maybe even 4 times of him kind of tap out of the situation. So if that's in there, that's in there. You can get it. You can pull it out of someone. You just need to go about the right things to get it. So you're already giving your opponent a psychological advantage going into the fight, because whether you say, oh no, I'm over it now, or I'm past it, or I'm not going to do it, well, evidence suggests that actually the opposite. So yeah, it could be problematic for him.
He suggests there are clear limitations in Dubois' skill set at the elite level, particularly when it comes to adapting under pressure. While Dubois' physical attributes remain impressive, Fisher believes those technical gaps could be exposed by a fighter like Wardley, who combines pressure with increasing tactical awareness. Overall, the consensus among boxing professionals paints a fascinating picture. Wardley enters the fight with momentum, confidence, and a growing reputation for finishing fights in dramatic fashion. Dubois,